I heard when you were 12 years old, your father would pay money to guys on the street to fight you?
So difficult.
Venían los niños a pedirle dinero y mi papá les decía, sí, sí te doy, pero si te ponen los guantes con mi hijo o con Julio, y siempre estábamos poniendo los guantes.
Entonces yo les decía, vengan, si le ganan a mi hijo Julio, le regalo 1,000 pesos, 2,000 pesos.
What did your father do when you won, when you knocked the kid out?
Happy.
Fighting was the way to get your father's love.
Yes.
No fight, no love.
No, no fight, no love.
Were you angry with him?
To have a hard life. Yes. Yes, I'm angry with him.
All Access was actually it was different. It was different and it was good. It focused solely on Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., but majority of it was Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. and his relationship with his father. Fonfara was nowhere to be found outside of, little promos. So basically, this was called All Access Chavez, even though I labeled it All Access Chavez versus Fonfara because, he's going to be fighting Fonfara April the 18th, 2015 at the StubHub Center in Carson, California. I'm TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live, 2:13 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, April the 11th, 2015, and I cover every single major fight live, every single episode of All Access, every single episode of HBO 24/7, every single episode of PPC Corner to Corner. I'm sorry, Al Haymon. Thank you so much. There you go. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. What is he? 44-1-1 with 32 KOs, if I'm correct, or is he 48-1-1 with 32 KOs? I forgot. Anyway, he's taking on Fonfara in a very dangerous fight at light heavyweight. This is his first real fight at light heavyweight. Remember, he fought Brian Vera in March of last year at light heavyweight, but that fight originally was supposed to be at a catch weight of 162. Then it blew up to 164. Then all the way to the day of the weigh-in, or the day before the weigh-in, the final press conference, Bob Burnham had said, whatever these guys step on the scale as is basically what the weight for the fight is going to be. So Chavez Jr. stepped on the scale at 172, and I believe Brian Vera like 169 or something like that. And he fought Brian Vera at light heavyweight, and guess what? He didn't look good. A lot of people feel that Brian Vera won that fight. I feel as though Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. had the harder, cleaner, effective punching, but at the same time, I can see how people were saying, or could say, Brian Vera had won the fight just off of activity. So if you look at his only fight at 175 pounds, he was fighting a natural 160-pound fighter, and he didn't look good. Then his next fight against Brian Vera was that was in September of 2014. And no, wait, is September 2014? No, when did he fight? He fought Brian Vera he fought Brian Vera in September of 2013, and then he fought Brian Vera again in March of 2014. So basically, he hasn't fought since March 1st, if I'm correct, of 2014, and now he's fighting Fonfara, a good, natural light heavyweight in a very dangerous fight in which Chavez Jr. can lose. So his father, in recent interviews, had already said that he's concerned, about his son taking this fight. But at the same time, it's like this, now, he's in the big leagues now. Now, I understand a lot of fans still may not know. Hold on one second. I understand a lot of fans still may not know who Fonfara is, but at the same time, at the same time, if you haven't watched the Adonis Stevenson fight, you should know, or his ESPN fights, you should know he's a natural 168-pound, 175-pound guy, and he has the power up there as well. Note the knockdown against Adonis Stevenson. So Chavez Jr. has to be taking this very seriously. Now, if you don't know, he's been training out in LA with Joe Goosen. We actually have a little bit of footage that I'm going to be putting up in not too long after this video is released of that workout. And basically, put it this way, we got to see if Chavez Jr. makes weight. We got to see if he makes weight first. And secondly, I'm interested in seeing how he does against a naturally a bigger guy, even though Chavez Jr. is the type of guy that walks around at about 200 or so pounds. Like, even on his All Access tonight, you know, he looked about 190-ish or so, but at the same time, we don't know when this was recorded. Oh, by the way, they didn't use Barry Pepper anymore. He's the guy that narrates for the All Access Mayweather. I don't know if he's doing Inside Mayweather versus Pacquiao. I don't know. But like I said, this All Access, it was different. It was like you got what you got. You got what you always get from HBO 24/7 and All Access as far as a look into the fighters' lives. But it went, you know, deeper. Like, you know, we really got to know Chavez Jr. and his relationship with his father and vice versa. And honestly, you know, I enjoyed it. It was different. It was good. So it kept me interested. I guess at this point in time, you just got to wait and see what happens on April 18th. Right now, you know, it's hard. I'm saying it's a 50-50 fight, but I'm going to go with Chavez because he's supposed to win. But at the same time, is Fonfara supposed to win too? You get what I'm saying? So it's a hard fight to call. As you know, Chavez Jr. is no longer, or if you don't know, Chavez Jr. is no longer in his contract with Top Rank Boxing. Haymon and Top Rank Boxing, Chavez Jr. reached a buyout, and it's funny, well, a settlement, whatever the case may be. And it's funny how they got this finally out of the way before the fight actually, you know, takes place between him and Fonfara. So he's officially exclusively an Haymon fighter now, and now that leaves the door open for, if Chavez wins, to fight a Carl Froch. Golovkin had, but to fight a Carl Froch, you know, or maybe an Anthony Durrell. I'm talking, well, a Carl Froch, as far as if Carl Froch wants to fight Chavez Jr. in, you know, let's say later on this year, let's say in September, October, whatever the case may be. That's a big fight that can be made. Chavez Jr. versus Anthony Durrell, or, you know, George Groves. Chavez Jr. I mean, you know, like there's so many different fights that can be made. And from my understanding, Chavez Jr. is going to be fighting this fight at 175 pounds, but he's going to be campaigning at 168 pounds. So only time will tell. April 18, 2015 on Showtime. We're going to have Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. versus Fonfara. Over on HBO, you're going to have Terrence Crawford versus Dumas Delorme and Lucas Matisse versus Ruslan Provodnikov. A very big day for boxing. Also, you're going to have Inside Mayweather versus Pacquiao, which is part 1, or episode 1, which is going to be on Showtime. Then over on HBO, you're going to have Mayweather versus Pacquiao at last. So you're going to have those two different programs going on HBO and Showtime, you know, as far as Mayweather Pacquiao is concerned. Then HBO is going to have their own card. Then Showtime is going to have their own card. Basically, next week is a crazy week for boxing. Stay tuned to the channel. A lot of, you know, changes are being made, so I just want everybody to be patient. I want to say this is TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy live on RealCombatMedia.com, and I cover every single major fight live. Subscribe.